women, due to being more emotionally driven, all right, they are affected emotionally and mentally in a lot more ways than the average man is, which then has an impact on how sexually receptive they are to their partner. So essentially, if a woman has too much going on in her head, she's stressing about too many different things, she is going to be less available, and not just available as wanting to even engage, but then if she does engage, not really being into the moment because her head is everywhere else, all right? And this, of course, affects the quality of the experience for both parties, and then can lead to less frequency and more problems. So a lot of times, and again, remember, I'm a coach who sat down with tons of couples, married, unmarried, divorcees, all these things. I've seen how much this sexual issue comes up. But a lot of men, a lot of people just think, oh, it's just a thing where you get married and sex goes downhill. The reason why in a lot of cases it goes downhill is because initially, and I'm not blaming men. I just want to explain this. Initially, there is a false belief of what is required to make this woman being willing to be sexual. Or it's just, oh, she loves sex as much as me, so we're good. I found me a freak, I'm happy, right? But you don't realize what the freak needs to keep coming out. And part of that is because she's not communicating that. She's not making that clear to you. And so you just think it's just based off of sexual desire the same way that you have. Not understanding that, no, if she's not in the right place mentally and emotionally, it can throw everything off. The quicker you can learn and understand this, the quicker you can start to lay a foundation and create an environment that will allow you to be more sexually satisfied in your relationship. Plain and simple, things like making her feel safe, making her feel secure. These things will help her in being more sexually receptive. I think also understanding when she can feel, and when we say safe and secure, safe in even expressing things to you. I think one of the most important things we can do in our relationships is create an environment where we can constructively criticize each other, sexually and any other way, all right? And when we have that openness and transparency, it makes people more comfortable. It makes people feel more loose and open up. We also have to not create an environment where anyone's feeling judged or looked at differently, or being honest about themselves. And listen, if in being open and honest, we realize we're just on two different pages, okay, then let's just move on, separate from each other and go in a different direction. Otherwise, let's create an environment where we can do that and now really learn more about each other so that we can experience better and better sex with each other. So understand, as a man, you got to accept the fact that women are wired very differently, as well as the fact that, listen, though some women are going to argue that they want sex as much as men, it's simply not true. And I'm going to do a whole video breaking that down. Typically, it's just not the case, all right? And it's better that you know and understand that, because again, I think men get frustrated, or they think their girl is just broken, all right? Like something's just wrong with her, why she doesn't want it as much as you would like her to, rather than understanding, no, she's wired differently. And that's going to contribute to, we have to be mindful of what's going to help her be more receptive and for you to get what you desire out of it. All right, so this brings me to the fifth harsh truth that men learn too late about women, which really goes well with the whole sex issue. And that's the fact that for a lot of women, the experience trumps the content, all right? Here's what I mean by that. And let me start off with an example. So for a lot of women, they can go to an event. Let's say it's a women's empowerment event, okay? And when they go to that event, it has decorations, it has pictures, it has all this, the ambiance is amazing, it has all these wonderful things that enhances the experience. Now, when you get down to the content, the actual meat of the message, they literally could have walked away learning nothing new, okay? But because the experience was so amazing, they still enjoyed themselves. A lot of women they take pleasure in the details. They take pleasure in creating that overall experience. Another example I'll use, I remember seeing a girl on Twitter saying, she wants a man who's going to take her out on a date, then they go dancing, then they go home and make love and all this stuff, right? And that to her, that's the kind of, I think she said like, that's the kind of sex she wants to have. What she was really saying is she wants the experience, that whole going to dinner, being romance, all these things. That experience is what actually makes her be more open and receptive sexually. And it actually will allow her to enjoy the sex more, even though the actual sexual content itself may not be anything amazing. But the whole experience was. All right. So when you understand that as a man and you learn how to enhance the experience, you can make everything feel better for her. All right. So even if you're going to do something special for her, let's say you want to take her on a special vacation. This is why, pay attention, when women try to do something nice and extravagant for a man, it's all these details and all this extra stuff that we may not even care about. All right, we're not even paying attention to that, because to us, it boils down to the content most of the times. What's the meat of this? But for her, it's all this other stuff. And so sometimes when men try to do something nice for their girl and they miss hugely on the experience, they're frustrated with the fact that maybe she's not as excited or happy with it. So it's almost like, another example I'll use is a man proposing, all right? And again, this won't apply to every woman, but for some women, if you just had a ring and said, here's the ring, let's get married, right? Even though you're still proposing, even though the plan is still to get married, you ruined the experience. You know what I'm saying? You didn't add anything to the experience to make it memorable and more enjoyable. She still may want to marry you, but that's what they're looking for in a lot of cases. So all that to say, as a man, being mindful of that is going to help you win a lot of points. All right. And that's why I think this is an area where getting other women's opinion on how to enhance the experience can be very beneficial. Whenever you're trying to plan something or do something, get the input of maybe a woman friend or a family member, someone that you can trust is going to give you genuine opinion, because they are really going to pay attention to the details more than the average man. Some of you guys may already have that skill naturally, cool, but for the average guy, we need help a lot of times. All right, so we got two more, and I'm gonna make these last two real quick, all right? So the 6th harsh truth about women that men learn too late is that how she feels is her reality, okay? Now, I know that might be, again, sound ridiculous to a lot of men. And at the end of the day, you're gonna say, well, nah, she can't be living in her feelings because it may not match up with what the actual reality is. But when I say this to you, what I want you to understand is you have to be careful with dismissing how she feels and therefore dismissing her reality, because it doesn't always line up with how you see it logically, okay? So I think about a situation where a man was married and he was having some conflict with his girl, and he was behaving in a way that made she felt she was no longer safe here, okay? Now to him, if you're being ridiculous, of course you're safe. I wouldn't do anything to you. What's the problem? But now in being dismissive, you're making her feel even more less safe, all right? It's not that you have to flat out agree with it, but you have to acknowledge the woman's feelings. You have to say, okay, in this scenario, I understand if this is making you feel safe. That's not my intention, all right? What can we do to make you feel more comfortable right now? You see what I'm saying? So you're not saying, yeah, I agree with you that I'm trying to make you unsafe or it's not safe right now, but I understand that's how you feel at the moment. So let's meet there and see how we can fix things. Now, I know a lot of dudes, when they hear me talk about the whole acknowledging her feelings and not dismissing it and all these things, that they'll say, well, that's crazy. A woman can manipulate you in that way. And I'm not saying a woman cannot manipulate you in that way. But my argument is, if you are with a good woman, if this woman has shown you good, why not give her the benefit of the doubt? Now, if you start to see it become a pattern, an unhealthy pattern, or becoming a bigger issue, okay, we can address that. But there's no need to jump straight to the negative perception of she's just playing you, especially if whatever is required in that moment to help her feel more comfortable, safe, to address her feelings and her reality is not really an inconvenience or a big issue or it won't cause you a big issue, then why not? You know what I'm saying? So again, we're not dismissing it could become in the wrong hands. It can be weaponized, but we are giving the benefit of the doubt and assuming that you are dealing with a good woman. So there's no need to think it's some kind of malicious intent right now. And then the last harsh truth about women that men need to learn is simply that she needs security. All right. And we hear it all the time. And I think we understand that a woman wants to feel secure in a man's presence. But I think I want to speak to emotional security. All right. Again, I think for a lot of dudes, we may overlook how we are or are not creating an environment where she can feel emotionally safe with you. You know what I'm saying? And I think part of being able to create that environment is you as a man making sure that you create that environment within yourself. Like, if you're not at peace within yourself emotionally, you haven't resolved any of your issues, you're not operating out of hurt, fear, all these things, you're going to have a harder time providing that to someone else. So the key is you got to make sure you heal. You got to make sure you're good from within. You know what I'm saying? And that will now help you lead by example, so to speak, and allow her to feel more comfortable, safe, and secure in your presence and emotion with you, which will then allow her to open up more to you. And let's face it, as men, sometimes our biggest frustration is that woman not being more transparent and open with us. Because if you love that woman, you're like, if you would just tell me, I'd be willing to fix this. Hey, thank you for watching this video. Be sure to check this one out right here, and I'll see you there. Relationships are the key to a successful life. But there's 5 areas that we have to be mindful of when it comes to relationships. There's relationship with God, relationship with ourselves, relationship with family and friends,